So I guess we don't have a meeting. Oh, there we go. See now, see the little red light? We're on. I'm going to call to order the council meeting for June 20th, 2023, where we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Clerk, could you call the roll?
Mayor Quorum is present for the City Council, Successor Agency, and Housing Authority.
Okay, we're going to go to public comment. Any persons present that wish to address the City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Authority on any item on today's agenda other than the public hearings may do so at this time. Hearing no comments, we will close public comment and we'll go to item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Move along payment.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members, Successor Agency members, and Housing Authority members, Gray.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales. Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye. Madam City Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Yes, Mayor. The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider introduction of an ordinance amending or repealing various municipal code sections regulating peddling, soliciting, and sidewalk vending, and adding a new Article 13 sidewalk vendor program to Chapter 8 of the municipal code to comply with changes in the state law.
Has the notice of the hearing been given in the time, form, and manners required by law? And do you have the affidavit on file?
Yes, Mayor. Notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received?
No communications have been received, sir.
Is there a staff report, Ms. City Manager?
Yes, Mr. Jerry Tucker, Code Enforcement Manager, will give the staff report.
Jerry, I don't see you in a suit very often, my man.
I
said, who is that guy, a debonair guy?
I didn't recognize
And you're looking
him.
sharp,
Right,
too.
okay.
Pull your mic down.
See, y'all flustered now?
Try not to do what Atwell did the last time. Yeah. All right.
You're gonna have to put you close to your mouth.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. Today we're going to have the public hearing for the sidewalk vendor ordinance. Summary of current state law. In 2019, SB 946 decriminalized sidewalk vending and prohibited local authorities from enforcing laws inconsistent with state laws. In 2023, SB 972 modified the state's retail food code to streamline the public health and permitting process for sidewalk food vendors. Current enforcement tools that can be used: administrative citations, parking citations, abandoned cart recovery, vehicle impoundment. And periodically, with the assistance from the Los Angeles County Health Department, food and carts are confiscated. Sidewalk vendor ordinance overview. This ordinance would create a no vending buffer zone around entertainment venues, schools, and other sensitive uses. Department staff desires a 1,000-foot buffer zone. However, the city attorney's office reduced it to a 500-foot buffer zone. Staff is seeking.
Hold on, Mr. Tucker. Wait, hold on 1 second. What do you mean the city attorney reduced it to 500?
Yes.
He didn't get a vote, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. Staff is seeking direction from the mayor and city council. Currently, our street vendor, what would be proposed, the street vendor restricted radius map. Surrounding the area of SoFi, the boundaries would be portions of, to the north, Pinkay, on property to the west, on property to the south, and to the west, or correction, east on property. It would not take us to Prairie or Pinkay with a 500-foot radius. The footprint is sufficient enough to cover Manchester, Prairie, Kareem, and Pinkay. With a 1,000-foot radius, SoFi would take into consideration portions of Pinkay, Prairie, still would be on property to the south and to the east as well. The form, it would just have a greater footprint into the residential communities by 3 blocks going to the west. Continuing. In addition, the ordinance establishes the Permits and Licensing Committee to evaluate submitted applications and determine if they should be denied or approved based on these statutes. Additionally, the ordinance would permit impounding or confiscation of items pursuant to the state law. I do note, code enforcement staff must have law enforcement's involvement in order to enforce this provision. Staff is available to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, so real quick, we're not going to allow sidewalk vending in residential areas, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
There are certain provisions that do allow it for roaming.
For what?
Roaming.
Well, they can be, go ahead.
Go ahead.
If you have the push cart ice cream or
Okay, yeah,
selling,
okay.
that would be one provision that's allowed by state law.
Okay, so, I definitely would want to go with 1,000-foot radius so that you don't just push it from entertainment district to entertainment district. And so, that's going to be, I'm going to move that we
If I-
adopt with
if I could
that.
be- Okay,
Go
we
ahead.
can start with that, but if I could discuss that point, Mayor, I'd like to hear what the point was that we did that, because from what I'm gathering, at first glance, yeah, I mean, the further the better. But at the same time, if you move it too far, what you do is you impact other things, right? You're closer to the residential area, and you're closer to other small businesses. What, can you give me the background about what you were thinking, Mr. City Attorney? Why 500 versus 1,000?
Certainly, there's approximately 2 to 3 other cities that are currently being sued in court for their boundary limits. The one in the city of LA is at 500 feet, and they're being challenged because of the state laws allowing it to happen right now. The city of LA did no study, similar to the city of Inglewood having no study as
The microphone.
They can't hear you.
as to the basis, as to the restriction of 500 or 1,000.
Mhm.
So unless the city of LA is able to prove as to whether there's any health or safety violations issues, the courts are probably going to find in favor of the cart vendors.
I still see that as no reason for us not to establish a reasonable boundary. So they could sue 500, they could sue 1,000, but what difference does that make?
Right.
No, we shouldn't make problems for ourselves. Okay? So,
Okay, so I wanted to hear the point that
Right.
Mr. Campos was making. That being said, for me, it's more important to be able to control the vendors from going, say, bleeding into the neighborhoods, right?
Yes,
Because what ends up
absolutely.
happening is that
Mm-hmm.
if you give them a radius, they're gonna be right outside the radius.
Mm-hmm.
And, it looks like, the arteries that exist when the stadium, the forum, and everybody else, and I know we've all gone, is they basically go in about, I would say, a good 500 feet, where it's like a deep crowd. And I have seen the vendors that are literally standing with tables trying to sell tequila shots and have like full-on bars out there for people walking by. So what we want to do is, not infringe on the neighborhood, because what ends up happening is that the trash that is part of those type of businesses stays there, and the lack of bathroom shows and everything else. So for me, I want to find whatever the radius may be, the bigger the better. If we're worried about a liability or a challenge, let that come. I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about how we accommodate the residents, because another thing you're going to encourage, if you let it bleed into a certain direction, is the crowding and the actual time frame that it takes to clear the area for the neighbors, because I know that bothers the ones that are immediate to the entertainment district. So and I haven't even gotten into, but I did read the governor's points about his ordinance and everything else in regards to, it doesn't matter a competitive economy in regards to the small businesses, which has always been a point I want to make, because our small businesses have really suffered through so much, and we don't need to challenge them in that fashion. But if it's state law, we can't change that. So those are things that matter.
May I
But I
add
just wanted to
something?
make those points, Mayor, and I see where we're headed here.
okay, 1 second, then we'll go to Councilman Padilla. But it's my understanding that they cannot vend in the neighborhoods. Is that right or wrong?
Cannot. They, Go ahead.
There is,
Yeah, please let him, go ahead.
there is a provision that allows for roaming. However, the city, by way of its zoning rights, can restrict the times.
Because I don't think we want any vending in residential neighborhoods anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Councilman Padilla.
Right, so just to get back on track with the 500 versus 1,000 radius, I agree with the 1,000, because that certainly will help us control what these vendors will do is, once they're given an inch, they'll take a yard, forget about a foot, you know, and some more than others. So we need to be a little bit more lenient when it comes to this. And then we can always, if we have to, or if the courts say we need to pull back, then we pull back, right? But let's go with the 1,000 with the understanding that, hey, if 1,000's not working, then we can revisit it. And then as far as your point, Mayor, about them doing in the residential areas, you know, as long as they're not stationary, you know, and they're moving, you know, it's all these little nuances in this that you really have to look at it and really have to chew on it because, you know, I know in Santa Monica where I came from, we had a lot of vendors that would come onto the beach. They'd go on, now they're on the pier, they're everywhere. And if you look at what's happened in Santa Monica, I mean, they had to pull it back, right? Because they got so out of control, you know, and so we understand that we have something we have to abide by state law, but we also have our restrictions that we can impose, and I'd rather do that now, and then if we have to change it, we'll do that.
Okay. Hold on, Councilwoman Fox already.
I also agree that we should enlarge it to the 1,000 radius. In my readings, my understanding is that the 500 radius, actually for SoFi Stadium, that would still put us within the SoFi Stadium lot. So that doesn't make any sense to have a 500 radius and it doesn't even extend to the sidewalk outside SoFi Stadium. So I'm in agreement with that. Also, I will tell you that what I've seen is it seems to be a little bit organized where there's a lot of carts around SoFi Stadium and it restricts movement coming and going for the attendees at the venue. And so a lot of times, because there could be a lot of roaming carts, what happens is the crowd ends up going into the street to get around the carts. And that creates a very unsafe environment where potentially attendees could be hit by a car. And so we need to jump on top of that and make sure that no one is hit by a car or injured to attend a concert. So all of that is pretty much the reason why I feel I'm in support as well with the 1,000-yard restriction.
Okay. Thank you. Councilwoman Gray?
Thank you. I do think it's reasonable, the 1,000 feet away. But I'm really interested in, I know this is a public hearing, really interested in what issues the public has regarding the vendors that are in the neighborhood. That's really what this is all about. It does create guidelines, which is great because we do need guidelines so that vendors do know what they can do and what they cannot do and where they can be. So I really want to hear what the public has to say, but I think 1,000 is reasonable. If we're challenged by it, we can always push back. I think one of the council people said that, but I think 1,000 is reasonable. So that's my input, but I really want
We're
to
not
hear
yet, just a minute.
what the public has to say about
Okay,
this
well,
whole
we're gonna-
issue.
we're gonna get-
Because the
we're gonna public
residents are
comment.
really the ones who are affected.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the members of the public, see if you had any comments.
Sure, we need to do that,
Yeah.
but Mayor, I'm gonna add a quick sentence because Mr. Tucker mentioned something. He said the time frame where the folks that are moving carts in the neighborhood, are we gonna do something like we do the ice cream trucks? Because they're only allowed certain hours as well. And I'd be open to something like that versus allowing them
Yeah,
to do
That's-
24 hours.
That's a good idea.
That's a
Yeah,
great
so
idea.
if we could do
So,
that,
but
that'd
we're
be
gonna,
good.
we're gonna wait for those recommendations.
We'll do
And
the
I shouldn't
motion.
have even, hold on a second. So now we're public comment. Any members of the public that wish to make a comment, this is your time.
Did we forget that?
Yeah, because I was fired up on this 500.
Good afternoon, council and residents. I just wanted to say that the food vendors are one issue, but if we start allowing vendors, we don't want Inglewood to start looking like Manchester and Western and Manchester and Vermont with clothes hanging on the side of the wall and trash everywhere. That's going to put more onus on the city to have to pay to clean up. We don't have enough law enforcement as it is right now. This is not a crime. We understand that people need to make money, but we want to keep our city clean and safe. We have transients all over our community that are hanging out in other areas where people are selling stuff. There's dirt. If you pass by certain alleys, our alleys are clean. Our neighborhood is clean, and we want to keep it that way. I want to see people make money. I don't want to seem like I'm a person that's against people saying people are trying to hustle and make a living. I'm not against that, but I definitely don't want to have people just having stuff for sale all over the city. I don't think it's appropriate. People pay high business taxes in the city. Small businesses are closing their businesses because people are vending in front of their stores. They're not able to open. And so these people pay Inglewood taxes. People are coming from outside of our community to make money, and it's not fair for the people who do pay. So, yes, I do think that. Thank you. I do believe that the state law supersedes Inglewood law, but I also believe that this is our community and we should stand together and try to keep our city safe and clean. Thank you.
Any more public comment? Okay, with that, we'll close public comment. Now, what I want to say or recognize myself, um, this is a very difficult and thorny sociological issue. You cannot make this an us against them, and you can't make it the thing that say that people from outside the community, because we don't know that, and it doesn't matter. The reason the state made the law, they wanted to provide some measure of equity for people that could not afford to lease business spaces, and that's their intent. However, there's also an equity issue for people that operate businesses. They pay the leases, they pay permit fees, they get inspected, they endure all the costs that you have to endure to run a business. And so this has to be done with some lens of fairness. Because if everybody could just run a business without having to lease a building, then I guess everybody would do that. And so, Mr. Tucker, what I want to make sure of is that anybody that has one of these mobile businesses, they have to have city permits. Is that correct?
Yes.
And if you vend food, you have to have an inspection from the health department. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how do they get licensed by the health department, and how does the health department ensure on an event-by-event basis, because this is when I see, sidewalk vendors, is when there's an event at SoFi, how do you ensure that the person has a current health permit? Because this is everything is Groundhog Day, it's new, so how do we ensure that?
The county will inspect the cart and they will affix a sticker to it. So if that cart has been inspected by county, not us, but by the county, then it will have an affixed sticker to it.
Okay, but that sticker is what? What is that what are they inspecting?
They're making certain that basic health standards are met, washing of the hands, temperature regulation, things that are in their governance.
Okay, but again, I'm going to say that's okay for that's for that day that they do it. I mean, so then that one cart, once it's inspected, then any number of people could operate it. Any number of people could prepare food to the way they think it needs to be prepared, and standards needs to be prepared. Each cart would just get one approval, and that's it, and you're all odds and free.
That is the direction that the state gave to provide a streamlining process that would allow for permitting of these carts.
Okay.
It's and you bring up a really valid point, Mayor, in terms of enforcement, because what we have here in the city is our process is through code enforcement, and our first call would actually be to you. And if you don't have the ability to close down a cart based on what you see, there's an issue there, because as the mayor said, they go through one approval and then they can basically post up wherever they want within the diagram that we give them. And it makes it very difficult for us here to make that one call to you, because it kind of puts you in a position where you can't do anything. I think that there has to be some sort of process dictated within the governor's plan that says this is how we enforce, isn't there?
Well, and also, before you answer that, there has to be some ability to limit the hours that this can occur. You see what I'm saying? We can't have carts on the streets 24 hours a day.
2 o'clock in the morning.
So what are the limitations on this activity?
Included in the ordinance by way of the city attorney's office, residential zones would have the operating hours of 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. In a mixed residential zone, 9 a.m. to 8. All others would be 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Well,
That's interesting because, we put bigger restrictions on our actual brick and mortars.
absolutely.
We recently approved a restaurant there in Arborvitae that opened up new, and they had to go through P&L. They went through P&L, and there was a significant uphill battle for them. We agreed, I think, on 10 p.m. during the week and 11 p.m. on weekend. Why? Because the surrounding area, we're trying to protect the community, and yet we're expanding the hours for each of these. And I do see a problem because they can post up almost anywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to move that we table this for now.
Yeah.
And
Mayor,
that we,
excuse
yes,
me,
ma'am?
I'm sorry, Mayor. You have a item already on the floor to extend it to 1,000. So
Well,
did you want to rescind?
I withdraw
Yes.
that right now because we need to do a lot more than that.
Okay, yes,
So that's
sir.
withdrawn.
Yes, sir.
What I want to do is table this, reschedule the public hearing. Let's go back, look at this, and give some more thought, and we'll reschedule this.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, excuse me.
Hold on.
That's right. Madam City Clerk.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, that'd be unfair labor practice, right? I just did your job.
It's okay. Council members, Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Madam City Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Yes, Mayor. The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider adoption of a resolution approving General Plan Amendment 2022-002.
Has notice of hearing been given in the form, time, and manner as required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Yes, Mayor. Notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received, sir.
And before the staff report, Yolanda, we don't have homeless all over the city. All right, is there a staff report on the matter?
Yes, Ms. Mindy Wilcox, Planning Manager, will give the staff report.
Welcome, Ms. Wilcox.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Mayor and council members. Before you today is the draft updated safety element of the general plan. The draft safety element was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission on May 3rd, and the safety element is one of the 8 required elements of the general plan. And it is intended to discuss specific hazards with a high likelihood of occurrence or impact of severity in Inglewood. The draft safety element has been closely prepared to conform with the city's updated local hazard mitigation plan, which was facilitated by the Office of Emergency Services and adopted by the City Council on April 18th of this year. Preparation of the safety element included outreach, such as community events and stakeholder interviews, and through the outreach and analysis of data related to hazards, 4 goals were identified to be included in the draft safety elements. I'll go through them, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. So goal 1, minimize the risk and disruption from natural hazards. And that goal is proposed to be addressed through 25 implementation measures, one of which includes ensuring communication stations and equipment are properly installed and braced and regularly tested. Goal number 2 is minimize risk and disruption due to earthquake and other geologic hazards. This goal is proposed to be addressed through 17 implementation measures, one of which includes creating an inventory of soft-story buildings that may need reinforcement to better understand the scope of that issue. Goal 3, minimize risk and disruption from droughts, climate change, extreme heat, and heavy rain. That goal is proposed to be addressed through 12 implementation measures, such as developing an urban heat vulnerability index and mitigation plan to prepare for extreme heat events. And goal 4 is to create and maintain a safe environment. That goal is proposed to be addressed through 21 implementation measures, one of which includes conducting an inventory of swimming pools in the community to be used as alternative water sources for fire suppression. So that is a summary of the goals and implementation measures included in the draft safety element. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we're available for a motion to waive further reading.
Well, Mayor, actually, it's PH2, right?
It's PH2.
Yeah.
I'll move 2 and 3.
Second.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Yes, council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Consent calendar, items 2 through 5.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull DR1, please.
That's the next item.
That's the next item.
Okay.
So maybe we can go on with the consent calendar now?
Move
You
approval.
can't pull it. It's not on the consent
Okay,
calendar.
1, 2, we're 2, 3, and 4.
There's a
Okay,
motion on the floor.
okay, there's a motion on the floor to approve the consent calendar, items 2 through 5.
Right.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Now, DR1.
Yes, staff report recommending that the mayor and council members direct the mayor to amend the funding agreement approved as to form by the city attorney with the Inglewood Transit Connector Joint Powers Authority to contribute an additional $1.5 million annually for a total of $9.1 million annually as adjusted for inflation during the operations period to support the ongoing cost of operating and maintaining the Inglewood Transit Connector, and $3.7 million annually in each of the 2-year prior, $3.75 million, thank you, $1 million annually in each of the 2 years prior as adjusted for inflation to plan construction completion to establish a project reserved for unexpected operating period obligations.
Okay. Is there any public comment on the matter?
No public comments, Mayor.
If there's,
No, Mayor, there's no public comment for this. They did it in the beginning. of
oh,
the
excuse
meeting.
me, I'm
There's
sorry.
a regular
Has the
item.
notice of the hearing been given the time form managed required by law, and you have the affidavit on file?
No, Mayor, we're doing DR1, so you're fine, you're doing good, it's just,
R1.
Oh, it's not a public hearing, I'm
no,
sorry.
sir.
Okay, so we're not gonna have public comment because you had a chance already. Sorry. Okay, so now, before we have council discussion or questions on it, this needs to be modified to remove the word direct and insert the word authorize. Because what the council does is authorize, they don't direct. Okay, staff report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, council members and mayor. Thank you for your consideration for today's item to increase the city's operation and maintenance fund contributions. And if you recall from our last hearing, the large majority of the funding sources are all transportation related, or those funding sources are restricted for transportation uses only. The action today is needed to demonstrate the project's 30% operation and maintenance sources of funds as committed to be in compliance with the FTA requirements. Our goal will be to submit our request for a ratings this week to the Federal Transit Administration. And again, this goal is needed in order for us to achieve our schedule to be constructed and operational by the Olympics. We are hoping to receive the FTA's feedback to our request for a medium rating, hopefully by the end of July or early August. It's just a question of how fast they can go. And we just want to note for the record that the mayor is continuing to lead negotiations with the venues right now for, again, their contributions to operation and maintenance and consistency with our plans. And these negotiations are ongoing and they're collaborative. And so they just are taking a little bit of time. So with that, I just ask for your support for the item today.
Okay,
Mayor?
Councilwoman Falk, you had a question?
So I realize that the ITC project, it's a massive project. And so I want to just really congratulate you, Mayor, because I know you spent a lot of time directing and working with Lisa on this and trying to coordinate with our venues, the leadership at our venues to help make them understand how beneficial this will be, not just to Inglewood residents who will, once this project is up and running, will have to deal with less traffic because this will curtail a lot of that traffic. But then also it'll be beneficial to the growing population of attendees coming to the city of Inglewood to attend the venues and now also patronize our restaurants, our other venues right here in Inglewood. So I know that this is a lot of work. I want to congratulate you. And, I think that, we're doing a good job. I know that our venues will continue to work hard so that they will support this venue as well. I know that you said that you're working with them, so they will see the benefit of this. And so I want to congratulate you guys for getting this far, really.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gray?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lisa, for the staff report. And I want to make sure the public understands that the council initially approved the $7.6 million, and this is an amendment for additional monies, and why this is needed, and the fact that we are optimistic about the project, but of course, this money would not be coming from general funds. It would be revenue producing funds if, in fact, when the project goes through. But I want to reiterate the fact that our partners or the venues that are involved in this whole discussion with the mayor and the negotiating team, is very important that they realize that this is a very important project, not only to the city, but also to the venues that are involved in the discussions. And so I hope that that spirit of cooperation will continue and that it will be a positive outcome. And so I just want to make sure that the public understands why we're doing this. And we are optimistic about it moving forward. So thank you, Lisa, for that report.
Alex, did you?
I just, we're asking for 1.5 million additional, and I think I'm good with it, and sometimes I don't want to use, the cost of doing business. We're trying to get to a point that many people didn't even think we could even imagine to even have this type of discussion,
Right.
but we're having it, because Inglewood is not the Inglewood from just a few years ago. We've done so many wonderful, fabulous things here for our community and the surrounding region. And so this is a move to continue in that direction. So thank you, Lisa, for your staff report. Appreciate it.
And the only thing I want to say is that this is an ongoing process. We're making this commitment right now because we have to do this because there are deadlines to be met for us to show where the operations and maintenance money would come from. The reality is that I am still actively engaging the venues, but what we cannot do is negotiate with a firearm to our head because we have to meet a deadline for the FTA. And so I want the council and the public to understand that when this is a close to $2 billion project, we've already assembled about $750 million. $750 million. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen in cities of our size anywhere in this nation. It has never happened. And so this is a process, and every step along the way, the council is going to deliberate, and we're going to make sure this works within our budget for the city. So that's where things stand, and I just wanted to make sure everyone understood that.
Mayor, I'll move item 1.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. SPH 1.
Yes, Mayor. Staff report recommending adoption of a resolution declaring the city's intention to adopt the report of the Public Works Director concerning delinquent charges for sewer and refuse collection services for fiscal year 2022 through 2023, and requesting that a public hearing be set for any protest.
Move items 1 through 4.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. And item 2 is set the public hearing for July 11th, 2023 at 2 p.m. 01.
Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members introduce the attached updated salary ordinance for fiscal year 2022 through 2023.
Motion to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
I'll introduce.
Okay, A1.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a closed session regarding the workers' compensation claim of Thomas Colley. As to that, there's a request for motion for settlement in that matter.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg. Mayor Buds.
Aye.
And as to A2, there's no reports from the city attorney's office.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. CM1.
Thank you, Mayor. No oral reports from the city manager's office.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. CC1.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I wanted to make mention that my son and I got a chance to visit the churro shop over on Arborvitae and Prairie, and we loved the churros there. So I want to solicit our residents to go over there. They're very friendly. They're cooked to order, and they have delicious flavors. So please stop by the churro spot. It's delicious, seriously. Also wanted to congratulate Ms. Keokia Childress and David Rice for a fantastic Juneteenth festival this past weekend. It was so great. I was privileged to present Mr. Tim Harris with a Father's Day award. And so just wanted to say, and kudos to our people for, controlling their sales. We had a great crowd, and, hats off to everyone in attendance. I'm so happy that we had a good turnout, and it was in good standing. And then lastly, I'm looking forward to attending the first ever Inglewood Jazz Fest this weekend. So encouraging everyone to come out and enjoy with us. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my remarks.
I've never quite heard it put for behaving ourselves. That was,
Because yesterday was a disaster at Lamar Park.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
Disaster.
Yes.
Okay, so now the Housing Authority is in session, H2.
Yes, Mayor. Staff report recommending that the chairman and housing authority members approve the sale of Osage Senior Villas located at 924 South Osage Avenue, Inglewood, California, 90301 by Osage Senior Villas LP, a California limited partnership, to Osage Villas LP, a California limited partnership.
Move 1 and 2.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
I
Yes,
have
Mayor.
some questions. I have
Okay,
some
before the
statements.
vote, Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you. I know this is on the agenda for the sale of the property. I have met, along with staff, with some of the residents there and the current owner, because the item has not been approved. But I do want to say to the new owners coming in that,
Councilwoman Gray, could I make a recommendation?
sure,
That we should go on with the motion, and this is something that's better suited for closing remarks.
as long as you extend my closing remark.
I'm not going to extend it.
Well, then let me-
No,
let
it's
me-
for your closing remarks.
Okay,
Thank
let me
you.
finish now, if
Okay.
I don't have time to do this, because it will be short. But I do want to say to the new owners coming in that I hope that you will be sensitive to some of the issues there, because they are some valid issues. So I just want to make that statement before I vote on this item today. Thank you.
Madam City Clerk.
Yes, Mayor. Housing authority members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. Madam City Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider the Inglewood Housing Authority's one-year agency plan.
Has the notice of the hearing been given in a time, form, and manner required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Yes, Chairman, the notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No, sir, no communications have been received.
Is there a staff report on the matter?
Yes, Mr. Roberto Chavez, HUD manager, will give the staff report.
Go right ahead, Ms. Chavez.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the Housing Authority Board, and members of the public. Thank you for your time and attention. Yes, today we're here for the public hearing to consider the Housing Authority's 2023 Annual Agency Plan as part of the 2020 through 2025 5-year Annual Agency Plan. I put together some slides to kind of get us through the process and share some of the elements of the agency plan with you. So the first thing we'll talk about is the purpose. Required by HUD for continued Section 8 funding since 1998. The 5-year plan describes the mission, goals, long-range goals, and objectives. The annual plan addresses the immediate needs, strategies, and operations. Contents of the agency plan describes the mission: promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and suitable living free from discrimination. Some highlights I put together. We've applied for additional special purpose vouchers, maintain our high performer status, implement streamlining measures granted by the Housing Opportunity through Modernization Act of 2016, also referred to as HOTMA, utilize the authority to preserve affordable housing through the project-based voucher program, expand housing opportunity through selecting families from the Section 8 waiting list that contains over 4,000 families, perform quality control inspections to verify that families are living in decent, safe, and sanitary housing units, monitor the Housing Choice Voucher Program, also known as Section 8, payment standards to assure that low-income households are not overly rent cost burden. New activity. So we are involved in mainstream vouchers. We were awarded 75. Veteran Affairs Supportive Housing, also referred to as VASH, we were awarded 50 vouchers. Emergency Homeless Vouchers, also referred to as EHVs, we were awarded 91 during the pandemic. Project-based vouchers, very popular program. We have 29 vouchers leased at the 512 Centinela Avenue property and 30 vouchers at the 716 Beach Avenue property, also known as the Beach Terrace property. Lastly, we issued a request for proposals for project-based vouchers that was issued in 2023. Here's the agency plan preparation. Developing the plan, we used the CDBG Consolidated Plan, the Section 8 Administrative Plan, and waiting list participation data. The agency plan was shared with the Resident Advisory Board, the RAB. The agency plan has been on display for 45 days. With that, the recommendation today is that you conduct a public hearing to consider the agency plan for 2023, approve the annual agency plan, authorize the chairman to sign the resolution and execute the required certification forms for submission to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions or comments from the public.
Is there any public comment? Hearing no public comment, move 1 and 2.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Housing Authority members, Gray.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. Okay. Hold on, excuse me. Adjourn Housing Authority. Appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. Councilwoman Gloria D. Gray nominates, and I appoint Alina Cindy Giardina to the Aviation Commission. Is there a...
Move concurrence.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members, Gray.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Mayor and council remarks. Councilwoman Falk.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Oh,
public comments first.
Oh, that's right, public comment. Any persons wishing to address city council in any manner connect with city business and elsewhere considered may do so at this time.
Good afternoon to the great city of Inglewood. Want to speak briefly about the city of Los Angeles. I looked at the meeting that they had on June 9th that was run by Kern Price, and it was a unanimous vote for sanctuary cities. And I had asked the mayor of Inglewood years ago, was Inglewood a sanctuary city? He said no. And I appreciate the difference between Inglewood and Los Angeles. The blacks in Los Angeles were locked out of the meeting. And what's really going on by the leadership of LA is something that's disgraceful. And I hope that, ran out of time. Anyway, I'll talk privately.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment?
I just wanted to let the residents know that on June 28th, there's going to be a group of people from the city for Education Advocacy Day. We're going to be leaving here from Inglewood at 2:30 in the morning, and we're taking a bus to Sacramento. We are taking parents, students, educators, and community members to Sacramento on Wednesday, June 28th, to let our legislators know that the harms that we are being suffering from the LA County who are over our schools right now, and we're urging lawmakers to advocate for our schools to be returned back to the city of Inglewood. So if you want more information, you can call 510-203-8984. Thank you.
Ms. Davidson?
Yes.
You're going to advocate for them to be returned to the Inglewood Unified School District
Yes.
control, not the city. Because
Yes.
the city doesn't.
Yeah, no, I didn't say anything about the city, the school district, the
Oh,
school
no,
board.
you said to the city, but it should be the school board.
The school
Okay.
board, yes, thank you,
All right.
Mayor.
You're very welcome. Okay. Are there any other public comments? With that, we'll close public comment. We'll go to council comments. Councilwoman Falk.
All right, thank you, Mayor. First, on Saturday, we attended a very important event. It was the ribbon cutting ceremony, street festival in the city of LA. It was a ribbon cutting ceremony for the New Orleans corridor dedication on Jefferson Boulevard. And so the mayor was there. He brought greetings from the city of Inglewood, and I attended as well. But it was put on by the city, and it was a wonderful event. And I really liked the fact that it acknowledged that there was a mass migration of African Americans from the state of Louisiana to California in search of jobs and better lives. And so there's going to be a New Orleans corridor in LA, and I kind of nodded to the mayor. I'm like, maybe we might need to extend that to Inglewood. So hey, don't be surprised if you see something, but it's a wonderful opportunity to acknowledge how so many African Americans migrated from the southern states to California, and acknowledging that right here in our city. So I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really nice. I did have some pictures, but they're not showing.
No, the pictures function is down today.
Oh, it is. Okay, thank you, Mayor. Okay, also, I too, like the city clerk, want to extend congratulations to David Rice and Keokia on a wonderful, wonderful Juneteenth celebration and Father's Day celebration in downtown Inglewood. All of our colleagues up here were there. We brought greetings, and then we acknowledged some wonderful fathers right here in the city of Inglewood. And so it was heartwarming to be able to acknowledge dads and acknowledge them for all their hard work throughout the years. I call them super dads. And so we have a lot of super dads right here on this dais that probably a lot of our residents don't know, but they're doing amazing things for their families. They're wonderful family dads. So hopefully everybody had a wonderful Father's Day, and congratulations to all of our super dads right here in the city of Inglewood. Lastly, the City of Inglewood Music Festival is happening Saturday. It's going down June 24th, Darby Park. A couple of things I want to let our residents know. You can park at SoFi Stadium. There will be shuttle service from SoFi Stadium that'll drop you right off at the door, Darby Park, or you can walk. Also, again, this is a free event. I've had several residents ask me, Councilwoman, is there a charge? No, there's not a charge. It's free. What this is a benefit concert. If you are so inclined to make a contribution, those contributions will be handed over to the Inglewood Unified School District. We are trying to make a contribution to our kids and remember them, celebrate them as we have fun. So this is a party with a purpose. Okay, a party with a purpose. Remember that. So it's a free event. Wear your white if you're so inclined. I've invited everybody here. I think our mayor and council members got their white outfits together too. So anyway, come on out. Let's have a good time. It's going to be another wonderful day in the city of Inglewood this Saturday, June 24th. See you there. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we're a little over. Councilman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Councilman Padilla.
All right, we're skipping around. Man,
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to keep
keeping
it.
us on our
I'm gonna keep it
toes,
on
man.
your toes.
All right, well, look, no worries, man. We're ready. So first off, I want to congratulate, I remember when Willie Agee was alive and rest in peace, we had an event at the senior center, and so we had one of the oldest volunteers, and I had one of the youngest, which was Lori Wade, and she was like in kindergarten. And last Thursday, she graduated from middle school, and I'm thinking, dang, boy, didn't it go by fast? So I just want to congratulate Lori Wade. She's a young girl, but she continues to volunteer. Too bad we don't have the pictures working, because she was even serving pancakes with the firefighters a couple of weeks ago. So Lori, congratulations. And congrats to David Rice and Keokia and to our city staff for putting together such a awesome Taste of Inglewood mixed in with Juneteenth and Father's Day. I mean, it was just a great celebration. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you, the community, for coming out. You showed up and you showed out. So thank you for everything that you guys do for our community. I also want to thank our EOC, Emergency Operations folks, and the American Red Cross came out Saturday morning to sound the alarm, to install over 90 smoke detectors in different homes throughout the city of Inglewood, free of charge. And they did an outstanding job. Again, the American Red Cross, thank you so much. This coming Saturday, I have my pickleball clinic on Saturday from 10 till noon. And Nilo was joking with me about we should do a one-on-one, you versus me. I said, man, people would show up. They would show up just to laugh, And so I said, I don't think so. I kind of, I'll be there to cheer everybody on, and I might get out there with the paddle and play. So just maybe. Also, we had a couple of great presentations today, and I got to thank our staff, because it's hard to get up here and to do a presentation, not only in front of the folks here and knowing you got the executive staff and elected officials on the dais, and then the people out there watching. But we have some very bright, intelligent, and good-looking folks that come up here and do a professional presentation. And so I want to thank you for doing that and for doing your homework. You come in and we ask you some of these questions, and sometimes you might think, man, that was a good curveball, but you have an answer. Right? You're able to, and you're prepared. So I want to thank our staff for always coming up and doing great presentations, and the housing report, the vendors, all that stuff. Great job. So thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you, Alex. Councilwoman Gray, District 1.
Thank you very much. First, I want to congratulate Cindy for being the commissioner for the Aviation Commission, so thank you for being here. It struck me today when we've had 2 public hearings, I believe, and there was only a few people who were here to do this. And I mention that because at my town hall meeting, there were folks who talked about wanting to have an evening meeting for the city council. And so I want to put that out there because there is interest in having an evening meeting at least once. One of our meetings to be an evening meeting. So I hope the council will consider that because I think that's something we need because obviously a lot of the public is not coming here to provide comments because we do talk about some real important issues. The other thing I want to mention that Halima Ginyard's aunt passed away. Her name is Janet White. I request that this meeting is adjourned in her memory. Her funeral, I think, is this week, Thursday at Faithful Central. Juneteenth, yesterday was Juneteenth. Very important day, Freedom Day. And you've heard some of my colleagues talk about some of the activities. We did have one here in the city of Inglewood, but it was brought to my attention that even though it's a national holiday, it's not observed here as a holiday for the employees. I hope at some time when there is an opportunity for open negotiation to discuss this issue that we do, because I do support this. It is a very important day, and I think we should recognize it and have it as a local holiday for our employees. I attended also the Juneteenth celebration here for the city. It was a wonderful celebration. Congratulations to David Rice and Keokia. And to the community because they did come out. Lots of vendors, lots of good food. It was a family event. Thanks to the staff for being a part of that also. The other event I went to was to the Centinela Adobe event. And if you've been there, that's where the history of Inglewood started. And Diane Sobrano, I think, is the president of that association. I was invited by Sterling Gordon and Leroy Fisher. I was happy to be there to learn about the history. So I really encourage folks to go there and to hear about our history. Also, I attended the grand opening of a wonderful martial arts studio here in my district. Kinji's family is the family that is the owner of the studio. I can't say that word. That's after Kinji. It's a martial arts word, but congratulations to that family who does have that particular business. It's always great to have new businesses in our community. And so with that, that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Boom, right on time. Councilman Morales,
Thank
District
you.
3.
And I'll just be brief as well. The Kinji Karate, they just did a fabulous job at the Big 5 building. I was amazed when I walked in there. I mean, first-class facilities there. The Juneteenth event, David, Keokia, I mean, amazing. The fact that Taste of Inglewood, combined with Juneteenth, such a important celebration of Day of Freedom. But aside from all of that, I'm really happy that we use downtown and that the businesses benefit from an event like that. They are so happy that that's where we choose to do it. It's a good point that they make that, they get to reintroduce themselves to the community and to visitors and everything else. So I just think it's fabulous that we use them. And then finally, Mayor, last week I thanked Cinder and the police department for the great work they did on the homeless population at Florence and Cedar. And Cinder happily sat there and took all the credit for everything and never said anything about anybody. But after further investigation, I find out our public works department did such a great job. So I wanted to point that out.
Man, he blasted you, Cinder.
Anyway, Cinder brought it up to me. So thank you, Cinder, again, for bringing it up.
Really great event for Juneteenth. And, we've discussed the holiday, and we have a lot of holidays in the city, a lot. And just taking away service from the residents is not the only way that you can recognize the significance of a day. And we can definitely figure out how to have celebrations here within the workplace that recognize Juneteenth. And so it's not something that's gone undiscussed before, but we have a lot of holidays in the city of Inglewood. And that is an outgrowth probably of the years when we couldn't give raises. So we found other ways to compensate our employees. So I want to tell you this is not something that's been thought about. Daniel Ferris, D-Smoke, received a key to the city. He was only the third person to receive the key. Third, Issa Rae, Stan Kroenke, and then Daniel Ferris. Stan Kroenke got it when the Rams won the Super Bowl.
Well, that's right.
Let's hear it for the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
But I would say that Daniel is the most significant because he's a product of City of Inglewood, District 1. He went to UCLA. He comes from a music background family. He's a Grammy-nominated vocalist, and he, most importantly, was a Spanish and music teacher at Inglewood High. So he's probably the most significant because he's from us. And so I want to congratulate him. And I want to close the meeting. It was Janet Smith, Councilwoman Cray?
Janet
White.
White.
Janet, close the meeting in the name of Janet White, the aunt of Halima Ginyard. And with that, we're adjourned.
Thank you.